Welcome to Chronicles of the Forbidden Stele. Written and produced by Alan. Truth is often hidden within taboos. Subscribe now and step into the mist-shrouded abyss of the Forbidden Stele. Chapter 2: The Decaying Forest. Lu Xuanxin's Ice Soul Sword, glowing with the power of a heaven-rank weapon, sliced through the night. The air around it was so cold it could freeze your soul. But he wasn't aiming for me. The instant the sword shrieked, the small girl wrapped in writhing blood-red sigils vanished. She became a crimson blur. In a bizarre flash of speed, she didn't retreat, she charged forward. Her fist, boiling with a wild and bloody power, slammed into the elder's killing blow once again. The second crash of blue and red was more than just a shockwave. It was a storm of pure energy. A whirlwind of icy blades and bloody saws turned the clearing into a spinning death trap. Giant, ancient trees were sliced in half. The stumps were instantly coated in thick frost, then corroded into black charcoal by the violent red energy, crumbling to dust. The ground itself was torn away, leaving deep scars in the rock below. The shockwave hit me like a sledgehammer, and my insides churned. The taste of blood filled my mouth again. The pain was relentless. The rotting coldness in my left arm had spread to my shoulder, as if the whole limb had been plunged into a river of pure ice. My nerves were frozen, the flesh dead. Every heartbeat sent a tearing pain through half my body. Inside me, my broken Dao seal was screaming as it clashed with the raging aberrant power. It was like two dying beasts tearing at each other in a cage. At the edge of my vision, the mad whispers of the steel flickered like a broken movie, trying to drag my mind into the dark. The sharp pain from my bitten tongue was the only thing keeping me anchored to reality. When I forced my eyes open, I saw a deadly dance. Lu Xuanxin was no longer pretending to be a righteous elder. His sword was a reaper's blade, meant only to kill. He focused all his celestial energy into a single, hair-thin point of ice-blue light at the tip of his sword. His moves were simple, fast, and fatal, aimed at the girl's throat, her heart, her core. The other enforcers moved with him, a perfect killing machine. Their swords were like vipers, striking from her blind spots, weaving a glowing net of death that was shrinking with every second. And the girl with the blood sigils was the single, leaping crimson star caught in that net. She fought with pure, deadly instinct. Her body twisted at impossible angles. She bent backwards so far her spine should have snapped, letting an ice-blue sword needle zip past her nose. Facing a heavy chop from Lu Xuanxin aimed at her head, she crossed her arms and thrust them up. The blood sigils on her skin flared, forming two thick shields of half-solid plasma. The massive sword slammed into the shields. A shower of blue and red sparks exploded. The thick, bloody light of the shields hissed like acid, eating away at the celestial energy of the sword. In the split second that Lu Xuanxin's blade was stuck, a savage light flared in her eyes. She twisted and punched, not at the elder, but at another enforcer sneaking up behind her. Her fist, glowing with a dark red light, smashed into the weak point of his sword. The enchanted steel blade shattered. The enforcer's shield exploded like glass, and his chest caved in as he was thrown backward. But her counterattack had a price. Lu Xuanxin's eyes flashed with cold light. He twisted his stalled sword, and the hilt, glowing with freezing energy, swung around and slammed into her exposed side. The sound of breaking bone was sickeningly clear. The girl was thrown backward, skidding through the mud, a grunt of pain escaping her lips. She fell to one knee, hand clamped over her side. The blood sigils there writhed frantically, trying to mend the broken bones. Through her messy hair, her crimson eyes burned with a wild, unyielding fire. She was like a wounded wolf, more dangerous than ever.
Stubborn fool! All who walk the aberrant path must be purged today.
Lu Xuanxin's voice was ice. His earlier surprise was gone, replaced by pure killing intent. He raised his sword to the sky. A terrifying pressure, like a giant god waking up, crashed down on the forest. The very air seemed to groan and crack. Behind Lu Xuanxin, space itself warped as pure, blindingly white celestial energy poured in, forming the ghostly image of a massive sword. The sword's shadow was dozens of meters long, glowing with a golden white light that felt like it could burn away all evil. Just its presence was enough to crush my soul. My thoughts froze. I couldn't even breathe. This was one of the ultimate techniques of the Lingxiao sword sect, the evil-slaying sword shadow. It locked onto your soul, and with a single strike, turned you to dust. The shadow of death had never felt so real. The sword was aimed at the bleeding girl, but its immense power was already crushing my failing body. My bones groaned, about to shatter. Cold despair wrapped around my heart. I have to escape, before that sword falls. Just as my mind was about to break, the whispers of the steel inside my head suddenly became clear. A single, cold instruction pierced through the chaos. Ahead, to the left, deeper into the forest. I could feel it now. A faint, cold pulse, deep underground, resonating with the aberrant power inside me. Another forbidden stele. There's something buried here. To hell with the backlash. The will to survive erupted like lava. I focused all my fear and desperation and slammed it into the raging power inside me. My goal was simple: cause chaos. Unleash a black barrier. The rotting cold in my left arm was no longer a poison. It was a fuse. I ripped that deathly energy out and poured it through my right arm, deep into the dead, decaying earth beneath me. Lu Xuanxin's sword's shadow grew brighter, ready to strike the girl below. Golden chains of energy had already locked her in place. She struggled to her feet, crossing her arms, the last of her blood-red power forming the vague shape of a snarling beast's head. She was going to face the ultimate attack head-on. Go! I roared with the last of my strength, my voice a demonic howl. The earth itself answered me. A roar of pure rage and madness erupted from deep underground, a psychic blast that shook the soul. The ground beneath me turned into a boiling, black swamp. Giant, rotted trees snapped and fell like spears toward Lu Xuanxin and his men. At the same time, thick black fog, sticky as oil and stinking of sulfur and rot, shot out from cracks in the ground. It was a living tide of darkness that instantly swallowed all light, plunging the battlefield into a pitch-black hell. The fog was a poison for the mind, filled with the screams of 1,000 ghosts and twisted illusions.
Damn you! This foul miasma!
Lu Xuanxin's furious roar cut through the fog. The golden light of his sword tore through the darkness, but its descent had been slowed. He now had to fight the fog's corrupting influence. This was it. The only chance. I ignored the feeling of my Dao seal shattering and scrambled away, crawling and stumbling like a beaten dog, heading for the river the whispers had shown me. And in that same instant, a crimson figure burst out of the black fog and landed heavily beside me. It was the blood sigil girl. She was in bad shape, but her eyes, those blood-red eyes, still burned with the fire of an untamable wolf. She didn't look at me. She didn't pause. She just glanced in the direction I was crawling, and her mud-stained lips spoke two cold, hoarse words.
Follow me.
Before the words faded, she was a red shadow again, stumbling but moving fast, plunging into the deeper, darker woods. She was heading for the same spot my senses were pointing me to. She hadn't left me. That tiny flame of hope in the wasteland of my despair erupted into an inferno. Shock, hope, curiosity, and wariness all crashed together inside me. But right now, survival was all that mattered. I scrambled after her, chasing that single, leaping crimson trail, my only guide through the ink-black forest. Behind us, Lu Xuanxin's furious roars were swallowed by the twisted trees and the thick, corrupting fog. but the terrifying pressure of his power was still branded on my soul, a sword hanging over my head, reminding me that the danger was not gone. It was just waiting, right outside this strange, dark wood. The black fog was a flag of death, marking the start of a desperate flight for two souls cast out by the world, their fates now tied together in blood and fire. The gears of rebellion had begun to turn. Ahead of us lay only a deeper unknown, and a bloody path we would walk together. Thank you for listening, exclusively produced by Alan Echo Story Narratives. What is righteous and what is heretical? In Chronicles of the Forbidden Stele, where will you stand? Tell us in the comments. I am Shen Fusheng. This is my forbidden path. The stele still whispers, and I am still alive. Chronicles of the Forbidden Stele. See you in the next chapter.